We give a warm welcome to Olivier Elamine, the CEO of Alstria Office REIT-AG on Expo Real 2015. Mr. Elamine, congratulations on your success for the takeover of Deutsche Office. The shareholders accepted your offer. It was not a big surprise, right?
No, it was not a big surprise. I think we were expecting that. The deal makes a lot of sense for the shareholder of both companies. So we were clearly expecting the offer to succeed.
But for some in the market, Alstria and DO make strange bedfellows. They say, for example, the two firms adopt different investment approaches. Alstria prefers property management to be in-house, whereas DO's outsources property management, for example. And they say Alstria was by now not very keen on the Rhine-Main region, whereas the portfolio of DO agglomerates at 1/4 in the Rhine-Main region, and so on. What do you say to these voices?
Well, I mean, there is never a perfect fit in the market, so you in essence need to tweak a number of things. It is true that we like to be very hands-on the asset, so we like to have the property management in-source, and we are going to do that on the portfolio of Deutsche Office. It's also true that we've never been very active in Frankfurt, namely, but I believe that the properties that Deutsche Office have are good property in Frankfurt, and the price we're paying them in the offer to Deutsche Office is also a very reasonable price. So we should be able to do good out of them. And all in all the things that you've mentioned are true, but they're relatively minor. In essence, both companies manage office property in Germany, and the portfolio fits relatively well. It allows us to get to a critical mass in Frankfurt, in Düsseldorf, where we both have a very large portfolio, in Stuttgart, where we also both have portfolios, and it gives us access to Berlin, where we were not so much present. With the Trap Tower building. So all in all, I think there is never a perfect fit, but this was as good as we could find in the market, and we're very happy with the transaction.
What about the high vacancy rate in DO's portfolio? How do you want to reduce it?
Well, the high vacancy rate is actually one of the attraction in the DO portfolio, because it allows us to potentially generate additional rental income by reducing the vacancy. So our intention is to continue the works that have been started with Deutsche Office, and they've already reduced the vacancy rate quite dramatically since the beginning of the year.
By the way, what about the perspectives of DO's management board? As far as I know, they will lose their jobs, right?
We had discussion with actually not only the management board, because you also need to think about all the other employees of DO, and a number of them are going to join us. We're going to open an office in Frankfurt and one in Düsseldorf, and some of the DO personnel is going to join us in those offices. Others are going to leave the company, but this has all been discussed with the different people. When it comes to the management board, I understand that they have options to terminate the contract in terms of change of control, and now they need to decide whether they want to exercise that option, yes or no.
Would you let this transaction take place if you had to pay it in cash and not in shares? Because this question I ask it because I heard that the fact that Alstria's shares were trading above NAV was one or maybe the main reason for for this transaction.
As you know, we did look at the value of each and every asset. So we believe the price that we're paying, correcting from the 80 million euro, reflects the real value of the asset. The question of whether we would have paid in cash versus in shares is, I think, the fair question. And the difference for us is not necessarily whether we would have then paid more, but if we were to issue shares to get cash from our shareholder, we would have to issue those shares at a discount. So the total number of shares that we would have to issue to the market in order to pay in cash would have been higher than what we're currently offering to the shareholder of Deutsche Office. And this is where the attractiveness of the share offer is higher than the cash offer.
The German commercial property companies are still quite small in the international context. How much visibility do you think you can gain on the international platform now after this merger?
Well, actually, we're not so small anymore. We're the fifth largest office company in Europe. The very large players are more the commercial, the retail, like Unibail or Klépierre. But we become very visible from an office perspective, and more importantly, we are one of the only potential investment when it comes to Germany and offices, and that gives us an extremely high visibility, which we already had as Alstria, but it's going to be even bigger now with the contribution of Deutsche Office. There is still a long way to go. I was always an advocate that there is too many small companies in Germany, and we don't need so many, we just need one big. And I think we've done a great step towards that target, and eventually we'll end up reaching it.
An analyst told me some weeks ago international investors are dreaming of a German Unibail Rodamco. Will we ever see such a company?
Unibail Rodamco is actually present in Germany, so you can invest through them. I don't think Alstria will ever be the size of Unibail Rodamco in terms of asset size, and there is a reason for that. We are investing in the 5 major metropolitan in Germany. We're focusing on Hamburg, Düsseldorf, Stuttgart, Frankfurt, Berlin, and later on probably Munich, which we're not present in right now. And if you look at the relative size of the cities, I think the ideal investment portfolio that you're going to have in each and every of those cities is around €1 billion. So if you put them all together, you're going to be at €6.5 billion of assets. And that's probably the ideal size for a company without taking too much risk and too much exposure to each and every of those individual cities. That gets you to €3.5-4 billion market cap, which is a very, very reasonable amount for an office property company, but it's clearly going to be always lower than what a Unibail Rodamco is.
Mr. Elamine, thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, fine.